Have and have not fans, this video is something that you need to watch and listen to with a very, very open mind. Now, it's in regards to a theory. If you've been following my blog since day one, then you know this is a theory my mom came up with. This is fully my mom. I did help put it together, but she pretty much got it started. I did this blog back in 2014, and then I did a second edition back in 2015. I'll be sure to have links to those blogs below. So when and if this theory turns out to be correct, remember that number one, my mom gets credit, and number two, you heard it here first or you read it first, depending on if you saw it on the blog. The theory is Katheryn Crier dreaming everything that's happening in the haves and the have-nots? So is everything that we've been watching going on in this inner psyche of Katheryn Crier in like a dream state? I know it sounds far-fetched, crazy. I felt the same way when my mom told me it, but she's been around longer than I have. And when she brought it up, she was telling me about different TV shows such as Dallas, and then the Who Done It, in terms of who shot RJ, JR, or something like that. Sorry, it was before my time. And she was saying, hey, I mean, think about it. It's a big mystery at that point in the series. Remember, this theory was written during season 2, was who shot Amanda or who killed Amanda. And I'm not going to lie, she brought up some pretty valid facts. And wow. Okay, so, and the other night I was at home over the 4th of July weekend, and she wouldn't stop talking about, well, hey, remember the Wizard of Oz? That was a dream too. Dorothy woke up. I'm like, you know what, Mom? You sold me. You sold me. I'm done. So, with that being said, I want to get this theory started. Hear the evidence. Comment below if you think that this theory has some weight to it. Please share. This is one of those unique theories. I mean, because usually you see me doing reviews of episodes, predictions on what the next episode will be, and then predictions on other things within a season. But this is one of the most off-the-wall kind of theory videos I've ever done. So, again, the first question is, if Katheryn Crier is dreaming everything, when did everything start? Now, if you've watched the Binge-a-thon, or you've been watching since day one, you recall that back in season 1, Katheryn was suffering from breast cancer. Now, during that time, she was in the hospital for surgery, remember? And it was right around the time of mid-season 1, remember when Hannah gave Katheryn that weed to smoke, and she was like going around looking like the Joker? That was hilarious. Okay, basically, before going into surgery, wow, I'm sorry, it's just like, wow, I just remember how powerful that stuff was, the scenes, but that begs the question of, I mean, if Katheryn was recovering from breast cancer, why have we never seen her go back to the hospital for a checkup or show any signs of, still recovering? Because after the surgery, we only saw her laying in bed for a few episodes. Now, here's where the part of the dream might occur. Now, if you remember, there was one scene. It was during the time where Benny was Benny was in prison for driving Candace's car to pick up Darcy, the nice girl from church. At the time, David had the detective playing drugs in the car to have Candace arrested, but Benny was arrested instead. Now, Katheryn got Veronica to help out Hannah in order to get Benny out of jail. So, Hannah had stopped by the hospital to check on Katheryn because she was about to go to the surgery. And that's when Katheryn asked her, how are things going with Veronica? She's a tough cookie. Next thing you know, she started like coughing and like covering her mouth. Her mouth. And she asked Hannah to go get the nurse. That's when Hannah left, and I believe we went to like a commercial break, and we didn't see what happened after that. That may have been when the dream started. That may have been that either, or it may have been at that point right there when she was covering her mouth, coughing like like she couldn't breathe or something, or right before she went into surgery. But honestly, it could go either way, either right when she was coughing or right before she went into surgery. Now, before she went into surgery, here's the first point of evidence of things that need to be. Here are things I feel are worthy of being brought up, and my mom too. It had to do with Katheryn getting Hannah to record a video of her will. Before going into surgery, she asked her to record the video. And in the event that she died, she wanted Hannah to give this will to Veronica. And it went as follows. Jim Cryer is not to receive any money whatsoever, not even a cent. When it came down to Amanda and Wyatt, who were both still alive at the time, they were both to receive $12 million. But if anybody were to contest the will whatsoever, they would lose every penny of their portion. And it would go to... sorry about that. I forgot something. There was also information in the will about her future grandchildren, which unfortunately it seems like she would never have. And pretty much any other money or estate will be donated to the Cancer Research Center of Savannah. And again, she told Hannah to give the will to Veronica in case she died. And kind of to fast forward, remember when Hannah's house burnt down after Quincy crashed a car in there? I know that Benny at that point had the house that Candace bought for him, and he had moved some of Hannah's clothes and belongings to the house to live with him. Was the video will in the house when Quincy crashed the car in there and it burned up, or does she still have the will? Think about it. Not question number 2, but fact number 2. And again, it goes back to Hannah being Katheryn's rock, almost like Peter was to Jesus. Before she went into surgery, or before the stream started, Hannah was the thing that turned the house upside down in terms of being a light, being a Christian, and being there for Katheryn when she thought she wouldn't have anybody else. And I mean, Wyatt was in rehab, Amanda was facing her own struggles in school, Jim was a flirt, cheating on her, and really Veronica was only a friend for social status. Katheryn really didn't have anybody until Hannah came around. So it makes sense that, during this dream, Hannah will be the one to show up when things got crazy and was able to help Katheryn calm down. Point number 2. Katheryn was always the person trying to hold everything together. Remember that towards the end of season 1, it was right around the time where Hannah finally told Katheryn that Candace was her daughter. She said, you know what? I almost died trying to hold everything together with this family. But hey, I got out of the cancer surgery. I'm okay. I'm going to let everything fall apart. That involved her son Wyatt, daughter Amanda, cheating husband Jim, and everything else around it. She was just going to sit back and let things happen. And if you notice in season 2, Katheryn played a very supporting role, if you will, because the big thing was, covering up Wyatt's hit and run charges, where she was kind of crying and sat in the background. She wasn't a major player season 2. She kind of took a back seat. And that, again, adds a little bit of fuel to this fire in regards to the actual dream that could be going on here. Because, again, it was almost like watching Elsa from Let It Go, sing Let It Go from Frozen, just kind of let everything fall apart and whatever happens, happens. So, again, it just really goes back to Jim having a similar attitude after Amanda died in terms of, let things fall apart, but then they had to get back into the game soon enough when it came to Professor Cannon and teaching Wyatt a lesson by sending him in jail. But then we get to, let's see here, point number 4. And this is a pretty good one. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. Katheryn knew about her children's self-destructive tendencies before this dream started. She knew that Amanda cut herself, attempted suicide. She knew about Wyatt's drinking and drug habits. And I guess you could say during her dream or nightmare, and that's usually what happens in a dream or a nightmare, it's the worst possible things you can think about that actually come to fruition. That's Amanda self-harming herself to the point where she actually does kill herself, and Wyatt's habits hurting somebody else or himself. Hence when little Lizzie was killed, when Benny was almost killed, and now he OD'd, so he's dead now. Point number 2, point number 5, I lost count here. Point number 5, she knew about Jim's affairs. So the reason I'm bringing up these points is a lot of people saying, wait, if Katheryn's dreaming everything, how does she know about things she isn't there for? How does she know about characters who quote unquote don't exist? That's because, she knows a lot of things before going into the surgery. So, for example, Jim's affair. Remember that she knew that Candace was the one ever since like episode 1 where she saw like the cheap lipstick as well as the smell of the perfume on Jim's clothes. And then she knew that everybody knew that Jeffrey was gay, and then the fact that he was attracted to Wyatt. That's honestly, there's no need to dwell on this point. She knew about it, and also she knew about Celine's children by Jim, and that's why we eventually see Carlos and the younger brother. And this point right here, and again, this quote from after Amanda had died, and Katheryn finally went over to Hannah's house. There was this dialogue as follows. Hannah goes, "How are you holding up?" Katheryn says, "Like a ton of bricks that dropped into the ocean. I don't even know how I got here." Katheryn says, "I don't have any friends, Hannah." Hannah says, "Yes, you do. You've got Miss Veronica." And then Katheryn says that she's not a friend. She's just one of those people who is friendly because it's good for her image. If I were in a battle, she's not someone I would call. She's certainly not equipped to deal with this. Hannah goes, "I see." Now, here's the piece of dialogue that caught my attention here. "My daughter's dead and I don't know what to do. It's so strange. I know I'm alive, I'm standing, but I feel like I'm above myself watching all of this play out. I'm awake, right?" Hannah says, "Yes, you are." Katheryn goes, "What do I do?" There have been, and again, this is real life application here. There have been there have been accounts where people who go into some kind of major surgery wake up and say that they've had like an out-of-body experience where it's like they were above themselves, watching themselves being worked on, and they can watch different events play out, but then they woke up. Is it possible that Katheryn Cryer is on the table getting her surgery, and due to the anesthesia, I believe is how you pronounce it, that put her to sleep during the surgery, she is going through, basically, she's having an out-of-body experience during the surgery, watching the events of the haves and the have-nots, and us viewers get to watch the entire thing play out. I'm just saying, this does have a little bit of weight behind it. I really do think that this could be a fact. I mean, think about Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Like, we watched, how long is that movie? 2 hours long? She was knocked out during the tornado when that piece of the window hit the back of her head, and then she woke up after having a full adventure. I mean, this also could explain why it takes half of a season or a full season to have and have-nots to get past 2 days. So, I don't know. I mean, honestly, again, when my mom first brought the theory to me, I didn't think it was true, but the fact that it does have some good weight behind it, the fact that Katheryn knows her family and friends well enough that, because again, she knew about Veronica's controlling tendencies, so that's obvious there. And she knew that David and Jim were running for the governor and lieutenant governor, so the campaign, because she even says that, I don't know, she even tells Veronica early on, I believe episode 2, episode 3, I don't know if it's a good idea for our, family to get in the public spotlight because we have a lot of skeletons in the closet. So again, that just goes back to the fact that she is well aware of her surroundings and the people around her. So it is possible, again, she probably even knew that Jim had those connections with, let's say, the Malones and whatnot, so that played out into, she knew how conniving and evil Jim was. So I don't know, it's just amazing how this one conversation with my mom could blow up into this potential theory. I want to get your thoughts. Do you think it's possible, maybe you don't completely believe this theory, but do you think it's possible that Katheryn Cryer is indeed dreaming everything that's happening in the haves and the have-nots? Honestly, I've enjoyed the ride so far over the years that I don't even care. Even if, and I'm not saying that I don't care, if the theory is right, then it's right. If it turns out to be a dream, again, I felt like I've invested so much time and energy, I wouldn't feel cheated, to be honest. I feel like that would be one of the best ways to end the show. And again, I don't want it to end anytime soon, but hear me out. To have Katheryn wake up after her surgery and then literally have an entirely different viewpoint of life where she saw what would happen to her children if she didn't do this. If she did that, then this would have happened. Or, hey, Veronica, you need to stop doing this. And I mean, I think that's a pretty good way to end the series. So with that being said, I want to bring this video to a close. Please, again, share this video because it's one of those off-the-wall theories that does have some weight behind it. If it turned out that the entire show was a dream, would you be pissed off? Honestly, I would be kind of happy to see Katheryn reconcile with her family so she can put her family together instead of seeing everything break apart in front of her. And the same goes for the Harrington. So, again, I want to stop rambling. So, again, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next time.